It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome back to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, Monday edition. Of course, that means waiver wire targets. I've got 5 players listed on today's show that I'm going to be targeting and suggesting for all of you out there to target them this upcoming week to win your weekly matchups. They have been on absolute fire, and let's get right into it.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Steele Roden, flying solo for today's Monday edition of Waiver Wire Targets. And thank you so much for being here. Make sure you hit that subscribe, hit the follow button, leave a 5-star review. We appreciate all that love and support. But again, Monday edition, Waiver Wire Targets, probably the most important day of fantasy hockey to target these guys for the upcoming week in your weekly matchups. Before we get into it, before we dive into the 5 players that I believe you should be targeting for this upcoming week, this episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Gotta love the Sleeper app. Fantasy hockey fans, you know what it's all about out there. Over, under, goals, assists, plus, minus, you know how it is. But let's get right into it. Waiver Wire Monday, waiver wire targets for this upcoming week. You can see all the names on the side here on today's show if you're watching on YouTube. If you can't see them, I've got Boone Jenner, Evan Rodrigues, William Karlsson, Jesper Kotkaniemi, and Trevor Moore as my 5 targets for this upcoming week. They've had a great start to the NHL season, and let's start with Boone Jenner, captain of the Columbus Blue Jackets, owned right now on Yahoo at 51%. He's up 14% from last week, so his numbers getting up there, and he's providing pretty much everything you could think of for a fantasy hockey fan. He's played 5 games already, 4 goals, 5 points total, 16 shots, 11 blocks, and 7 hits. So the peripherals are out of this world right now to start the year. And a lot of this has to do with getting the locker room cancer and the drama out before the season even started. Mike Babcock had to go. All the focus was on him and his outrageous coaching style and how he treats his players. You get that drama, again, locker room cancer out of there before the season starts. And look what's going on in Columbus. They start off the year 3-2-0 to start the season. And Boone Jenner, the captain, again, is just leading by example. Does practically everything you could want a player to do. Parks himself in front of the net, goes to work, digs, battles, comes up with the puck until he can put it in the back of the net. I really like Boone Jenner. I know Flip really likes Boone Jenner and what he brings to the table, both fantasy hockey-wise as well as just overall leadership and his play style. Only 30 years old. I thought he was a little bit older, but he's only 30 years old. He's getting it done for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and so far they're out to a great start. But Boone Jenner, just one of those guys who his name doesn't jump off the page. He doesn't have that household name, but when you really dig into the stats, dig into his career, he provides substantial numbers throughout the entire statistics categories, especially for fantasy hockey. So Boone Jenner, if he's out there in your league, 51% owned right now on Yahoo, go out and get him because he's covering all of those peripherals. He's getting it done on both ends of the ice. And again, just leads by example. He does all those little things that you need your captain to do and just need a player to do overall. So Boone Jenner is number 1 on this list because he is just outstanding so far to begin this season. And then the guy that I've already picked up in a couple of my leagues, and if you haven't, go out and get him right now. That's Evan Rodrigues of the Florida Panthers. Both Flip and I have talked about what this player's opportunities are going to look like in Florida. And obviously going from Colorado to Florida, it kind of doesn't make a lot of sense because he had those opportunities in Colorado playing with the likes of Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, Valerian Nichushkin, Arturi Lehkonen as well. He had those opportunities and he didn't really capitalize on all of those chances. I don't have the numbers up right now, but Evan Rodrigues' stats from last year with the Colorado Avalanche were really a letdown from what we thought that he was able to do with the type of players that he was surrounding himself by. Again, he did struggle with some injuries like a lot of the Colorado Avalanche players did last year. Throughout the year, Mikko Rantanen really stepped up. Yeah, only played 69 games, had 16 goals, 39 points, 34 hits, 27 blocks, and 184 shots. So the shots were still great. The points were a little bit down from the year previous with the Pittsburgh Penguins. But going into Florida, we know this team likes to score a lot. They are an offensive-minded team. You could talk about what they have on the blue line without Aaron Ekblad and Brandon Montour right now. Sergei Bobrovsky has been an absolute beast to start the year as well. But Evan Rodrigues and the Florida Panthers have so much talent up front that they're going to get it done in the offensive zone. 2 goals, 7 points in 5 games, 21 shots and 5 hits. He likes to shoot the puck. When he's healthy, he shoots the puck a lot. Go back to his year, played a full season in his last year, 2021-22 season with the Pittsburgh Penguins, had 243 shots, the most ever of his career, because he was finally getting that opportunity on the top line with Sidney Crosby. Again, he was injured last year, but still had 184 shots, and he already has 21 shots in 5 games. So if he stays healthy and he remains in that top 6 group, or even the top line with Barkov, I expect this number to be above 240, beating his previous career high. Anyways, he's owned at 45% right now on Yahoo, up 36% already from last week. So people are taking notice of what Evan Rodrigues is doing, how he's doing it right now. He's a very fast player, very speedy, but it's not just physically, it's also mentally. He's very aware of his surroundings and where his teammates are at all times. He makes very quick, smart decisions with and without the puck, from what I've seen over the last 5 games so far with the Florida Panthers. Only 2 games for the Florida Panthers this upcoming week. They take on the San Jose Sharks and the Seattle Kraken. And go back to Boone Jenner, Columbus Blue Jackets have 3 games this week, Anaheim Ducks, Montreal Canadiens, and New York Islanders. So those are 2 guys, again, not a lot of games for the Florida Panthers this upcoming week, but if Evan Rodrigues is out there on the waiver wire, go out and get him, because he's producing right now, and you want to catch him while he's hot and while he's playing with these top end players for the Florida Panthers. And again, I've already picked him out in a couple of leagues, and he's helped me win this first week or second week matchup going into week 3. So very excited that I was able to get Evan Rodrigues. He's helping my team, and he could help your team as well. There's a few other players that I want to get to on this list: Jesper Kotkaniemi, Trevor Moore, and William Karlsson. We'll get to all of those guys coming up very, very soon. But of course, we got to talk about our sponsors, our beloved Sleeper. This episode is brought to you by the Sleeper app. The NHL season is finally here. We're 5-6 games into the year, and you know we got you covered here on the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I absolutely love NHL. I know you all love NHL out there, and that's why I want to tell you about the Sleeper app. The Sleeper app is the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL network, and it's my go-to for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey. With Sleeper app, you can win 100 times your cash on daily fantasy. And fans, you can also, it's not just NHL, there's also daily fantasy NFL, NBA, MLB, CFB on the Sleeper app. And the NHL has never been more exciting than it is now, with studs like McDavid, Ovechkin, Crosby, Makar, and of course, my boy Matthews at your fingertips. Just pick more or less on stats for these stars, on stats like goals, assists, saves, and plus minus, and many more options. You heard me, fantasy hockey fans, 100-time payouts on Sleeper. So start paying attention and get your picks right, and you could win big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details.
Hey everyone, Chris from Locked On Avalanche here. If you like using debit over credit, I just learned about something that's definitely a game changer. Discover Cashback Debit. It's a checking account that rewards everyone with cash back on everyday purchases, which means you can get cash back on NHL tickets or head-to-toe hockey gear to make this season a total win. Check out eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your favorite team from all 4 major sports leagues, including the NCAA, your team every single day. And this kid is providing for his team right now. in the absence of Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechnikov, who are dealing with injuries. Jesper Kotkaniemi is owned right now at 15%. So he is out there in majority of leagues in Yahoo. He's up 7% from week 1, but he's getting it done in the offensive zone. Actually, the entire 200-foot game. So 3 goals, 7 points in 6 games for the Carolina Hurricanes right now. 15 shots, 3 blocks, 2 hits. And he has really become a great center in the NHL and a great center for the Carolina Hurricanes. And he's still only 23 years old. His two-way game has gotten a lot better. He's a lot better in the defensive zone. His decision-making is what I'm very, very impressed by so far. Where he goes without the puck is night and day from the first couple of seasons in the NHL. Quick passes. He gets himself ready to accept the pass and take quick shots on net. He's actually hitting the net for once as well. And as a third overall pick back from 2018, for the first 3 to 4 seasons in the NHL career for himself, I was very harsh on this kid. I didn't like the way he played the game. He looked a lot nervous out there. And again, I've been very impressed with his game from last season, and as well as him bringing that over to this new year with the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes have 3 games this upcoming week. They take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, San Jose Sharks, and Seattle Kraken. And again, Jesper Kotkaniemi is getting a lot of opportunity right now with Carolina having injuries to both Andrei Svechnikov and Sebastian Aho. Sebastian Aho, their number 1 centerman, out with injury, just day to day, but still he's getting the opportunity that he does deserve because of his play and what he's able to provide right now for the Carolina Hurricanes. So if he's out there, or if you need some help this upcoming week offensively, Jesper Kotkaniemi is one of those guys that I really suggest you guys go out there and target for this upcoming week. Trevor Moore is another one that both Flip and I love a lot to target off the waiver wire. 8% owned right now on Yahoo. He's up 7% from week 1. Again, really fond of this player. He's battled with injuries last year, only played 59 games and only had 10 goals for a total of 29 points in 59 games last year. Already has 4 goals, 5 points in 5 games this year. He's shooting at 28.6 shooting percentage, which is very, very high for this player. It's never been that high before. So expect that number to drop significantly, but that doesn't mean he's going to stop shooting. He loves shooting the puck when he is healthy. He probably gets about 4-5 shots a game on average. It would have been like through the first 5 games. But Flip and I both really like that third line in LA. Victor Arvidsson, Philip Deneau, and Trevor Moore. We know Victor Arvidsson is injured and he's out for a couple more weeks, 3 to 4 weeks out there with injury for the time being. But Arthur Kaliev has done a phenomenal job playing in the absence of Arvidsson, and I'm really excited for him to get back. But so far, that third line of Deneau, Trevor Moore, and Arthur Kaliev has been really good for the LA Kings. And Trevor Moore, again, just producing all around right now in the offensive zone. Like I said, 4 goals, 5 points in 5 games, just a speedy player. I honestly wish that he would have remained with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He probably would have liked to remain with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but again, it's just very hard to get your opportunity and crack the lineup in Toronto because of how they draft and all these players and who they pay and all of those fundamentals go into it. But Trevor Moore is one of those players that I really like picking up off the waiver wire. I've already done so in one of my leagues, and he's provided for me this previous week matchup. Last player on this list, again, who I have on one of my fantasy teams, is William Karlsson, owned at 20% right now on Yahoo. He's up 3% from week 1. And if you love hockey, if you need help for your weekly matchups, you need to get a piece of what the Vegas Golden Knights are doing right now. They are 6-0-0 to start the year. They haven't lost a game, pure domination from the reigning Stanley Cup champions. And William Karlsson has been a big part of that hot start for them as well. Shea Theodore's been great. Jack Eichel's been great. A couple guys in their bottom 6 have been stepping up and really dominating. It's not the same team from last year. They made a couple of changes, but a lot of guys have just been really hot to start off the year, and William Karlsson has been one of them. 2 goals, 6 points total in the first 6 games, 18 shots, couple blocks, couple of hits here and there. But this was a player I wasn't really sure what his production would be like this upcoming year. He's played a lot of hockey in Vegas with Jonathan Marchessault and Riley Smith. And as we know, Riley Smith was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins this offseason. And again, him and Riley Smith just had really great chemistry, both on the penalty kill, both on the third line, and they just were able to get it done together. I wasn't sure how that would affect William Karlsson's overall game, losing Riley Smith, but so far that new third line of William Karlsson, Michael Amadio, and Cotter has looked really solid so far. So I really like what the Vegas Golden Knights are doing. And again, you got to get a piece of what they're doing right now. If there's a player available, whether it's Keegan Kolesar, who gets penalty minutes and hits, whether it's William Karlsson, who's only 20% owned right now on Yahoo, not sure what the number is on ESPN, but nonetheless, if there is a good player out there of the Vegas Golden Knights on the waiver wire target, you got to go get a piece of them. They have a pretty light schedule for this first season, or for this first month in October. They've got 3 games this upcoming week: Philadelphia Flyers, LA Kings, and Chicago Blackhawks. And the way they're playing right now, they should run through pretty much all 3 of those teams. LA Kings might be a little bit of a challenge, but the way Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley have been playing, I'm going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights for that one, and against the Blackhawks and Flyers. They might start off the season 10 straight wins after the Stanley Cup victory from last season. So William Karlsson is that final player that I am targeting off the waiver wire. Boone Jenner, Evan Rodrigues, William Karlsson, Jesper Kotkaniemi, and Trevor Moore are the 5 players that I would be targeting, and I suggest that you all target out there for this upcoming week. I believe it's week 3 heading into fantasy hockey, week 3 matchup. So get out there, hit the waiver wire, and acquire some of these players who can really, really help your weekly matchups and your fantasy hockey team. We are going to get to big time bets. Only 1 game on the schedule for this Monday edition, and that is the Montreal Canadiens taking on the Buffalo Sabres. But before we get to that, this episode is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers.
This Halloween,
mystery lurks around every corner.
Bundle up with Disney Plus and Hulu.
What are you scared of? The dark.
It's spine-tingling fun on Disney Plus with Haunted Mansion and Goosebumps.
I'm gonna need you to spread the word.
Then feel the bone-chilling terror on Hulu with The Boogeyman and American Horror Story Delicate.
Something's happening to me.
The Disney Bundle with Hulu and Disney Plus. All of these and more streaming this month. Plans starting at $9.99 a month. 18 plus only. Access content from each service separately. Offer valid for eligible subscribers only. Terms apply.
And thank you so much again for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Continue to hit that subscribe, hit the follow button, leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. I know Flip's not here, but if he were here, he would also be saying that we appreciate all that love and support all of you show us every single day, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning is when you can find our episodes. And again, just thank you for supporting us. We could not be doing this without all of our listeners out there. And we are very excited that we're very fortunate to do this as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get over to Big Time Bets, where I have been slacking. It has been a rough go to start the year for Big Time Bets. The locks of the night have always been my forte. The lock of the night is where I usually make a lot of my money, but all 3, it's been a rough go. Let's get into it though. 1 game only, so it can't be too hard, but 1 game on Monday. So maybe you just take the night off, but nevertheless, I'm going to suggest and provide 3 picks from this game that I believe are going to hit. Number 1, Sabres on the money line against the Montreal Canadiens. Sabres are at home. They are at home. I like their last game they played. I like the last couple of games they played, actually. I know they started off pretty rough to start the year against the New York Rangers and others, but nonetheless, Sabres do kind of struggle to start off the year, but I don't really have that much faith in the Montreal Canadiens as well. I know they had a big win against against Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals the other day, but nonetheless, first pick, no matter what, Sabres money line against the Montreal Canadiens. I'm also going to hit up the Tage Thompson anytime assist. He's been one of those guys that we talked about a few episodes ago who has been ice cold, hasn't really produced so far in the first 5 games. He's only got 1 goal in 5 games, 0 assists, but I think he's going to come to play and dominate against the Montreal Canadiens. So Tage Thompson, anytime assist, also might even take over 1.5 points in this for Tage Thompson, because it's about that time where he just really turns on the Jets and gets going, because the Buffalo Sabres really need him to get going too. And the third pick, lock of the night, Cole Caulfield, 3+ shots in this game. I believe the last 4 games he's played, it's been over 5 shots the last 4 games. So I'm going to take the Cole Caulfield 3+ shots in this game as my lock of the night. Those are the 3 picks. And if Flip were here, I know we'd probably be having a side bet. Knowing him, I'd probably lose $20 to him for that side bet too. But he's not here, so I'm glad about that, because I don't have to lose any money. But we'll have him back on for the rest of this week, because I really do need him. We need each other for these podcasts, because the debate, the back and forth, the banter is always pristine. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Make sure you're tuning in for Monday's episode, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Buying tickets to see your favorite NHL team shouldn't be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You can buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
JamesAllen.com is the online destination to easily design a customized engagement ring and save up to 50% compared to traditional stores. You pick a diamond, whether it's lab-created or earth-created, James Allen has over 200,000 conflict-free stones. Then you pick your ring setting and metal. And if you need some help, they have real-time diamond consultations available, where an expert can walk you through it all. Get 25% off your order at JamesAllen.com, code LOCKEDON. That's JamesAllen.com, code LOCKEDON.
The NHL season is here, and the best way to find all the insights and reactions for every team all season long is with Locked On NHL. Don't miss a second of the season. Available every day for 30 minutes on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.